You must collect the orbs and place them in the ancient stone circle, Abeni instructed. But beware, for the spirits of the forest will try to stop you. Once upon a time, in a small village at the edge of a vast, dense forest, the villagers lived in harmony with nature. This forest, known as the Midnight Forest, was shrouded in mystery and feared by all. By day, it was a beautiful, tranquil place, but by night, it transformed into a realm of terror. The village, named Alahoma, was known for its lush greenery, vibrant markets, and the laughter of children playing in the fields. But despite its idyllic appearance, a shadow hung over Alahoma. The legend dated back centuries. It was said that the forest was once home to Abeni, a powerful witch and healer. She was the guardian of the forest, revered and respected by the villagers for her wisdom and her ability to heal the sick with her knowledge of herbs and potions. Abeni's heart was kind, and her magic was pure. However, as time passed, fear and suspicion grew among the villagers. Some believed her powers were too great and that she dabbled in dark magic. Whispers of treachery spread, and a plot was hatched to rid the village of Abeni. One fateful night, Abeni was ambushed by a group of villagers. Accused of witchcraft and dark magic, she was condemned and sentenced to death. As the villagers dragged her to the heart of the forest to execute their judgment, Abeni, with her dying breath, uttered a curse that would forever change the fate of the Midnight Forest. For your betrayal, this forest shall be cursed. None shall enter without facing dire consequences. The spirits of the forest will guard it, and only the worthy shall pass through unscathed. From that day, the forest was feared and avoided. Strange occurrences were reported by those who dared to enter. Whispers in the wind, shadows moving between the trees, and eerie lights that danced in the darkness. The villagers spoke of spirits that guarded the forest and the ghostly figure of Abeni that appeared to those who ventured too far. The Midnight Forest became a place of legend and terror, a forbidden realm where the curse of Abeni lingered, waiting to claim the unwary. In the present day, the legend of the Midnight Forest was still very much alive. The villagers of Alahoma had learned to live with the forest's presence, respecting its boundaries and passing down the stories from generation to generation. Among the villagers was Icam, a young and adventurous man in his early 20s. Icam was known for his courage and curiosity, traits that often led him into trouble. His best friend, Nina, was his steadfast companion. Nina was wise beyond her years, with a calm demeanor that balanced Icam's impulsiveness, despite the warnings. Icam and Nina were fascinated by the tales of the Midnight Forest. They often discussed exploring its depths, drawn by the mystery and the promise of adventure. Icam's younger sister, Amora, shared their curiosity. Amora, a bright and spirited girl of 12, idolized her brother and his fearless nature. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the village prepared for the night, Amora went missing. Panic swept through the village as the search for her began. The villagers combed every corner of Alahoma, but there was no sign of Amora. As night fell, fear gripped the hearts of the villagers. The elders spoke in hushed tones, fearing that the curse of the Midnight Forest had claimed another victim. Desperate and fearing the worst, Icam and Nina decided to venture into the Midnight Forest to find Amora. With a lantern and a bag of supplies, they prepared for their journey. As they stood at the edge of the forest, the elders warned them once more of the dangers that lay ahead. But Icam's resolve was unwavering. "I will not leave my sister to the darkness," he declared, and with Nina by his side, they stepped into the forest. The air grew colder as Icam and Nina entered the Midnight Forest. An eerie silence enveloped them, broken only by the rustling of leaves underfoot. The lantern flickered, casting long shadows that danced among the trees. Icam's heart pounded with a mix of fear and determination, while Nina's calm presence provided a steadying influence. As they ventured deeper, the whispers in the wind began. Faint at first, the voices grew louder, filling the air with an otherworldly hum. Shadows moved between the trees, and Icam felt a sensation of being watched. "Stay close," he whispered to Nina, gripping the lantern tightly. Nina nodded, her eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of danger. Suddenly, a figure appeared before them, ghostly and ethereal. Draped in tattered clothes, the apparition's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. It was Abeni, the witch. Her presence was both terrifying and mesmerizing. "Why do you dare to enter my forest?" her voice echoed, sending chills down their spines. Icam stepped forward, his voice steady. "We seek my sister, Amora. She is lost, and we fear she has been taken by the curse. Abeni's gaze softened, though her expression remained stern. The curse is real, but your sister's fate is not sealed. You must prove your courage and worthiness if you wish to save her. Abeni set them on a series of tasks to prove their bravery and resolve. The first task led them to a clearing where a massive tree stood, its branches twisted and gnarled. Hanging from the branches were glowing orbs that pulsed with a faint light. You must collect the orbs and place them in the ancient stone circle, Abeni instructed. But beware, for the spirits of the forest will try to stop you. As Icom and Nina approached the tree, the air grew thick with tension. Shadows materialized, taking the form of forest guardians, mystical creatures with glowing eyes, leaf-like hair, and skin that resembled tree bark. The guardians moved silently, their eyes fixed on the intruders. Icom and Nina moved quickly, dodging the guardians' grasp and plucking the glowing orbs from the branches. Each orb they collected seemed to grow heavier, and the guardian's movements became more aggressive. Icom's determination fueled his actions, while Nina's agility and quick thinking kept them ahead of the guardians. With the final orb in hand, they raced to the ancient stone circle. Placing the orbs in their respective slots, the ground trembled, and a blinding light erupted from the circle. The guardians halted, their forms dissolving into the shadows. Abeni appeared once more, her expression unreadable. You have passed the first test. Your journey is far from over. The second task took them to a river that ran through the heart of the forest. The waters glowed with a luminescent light, and the air was filled with the sound of distant singing. Abeni explained that they must cross the river using only the stones that glowed with the same light. But be cautious, she warned. The river is guarded by spirits who will try to lead you astray. Icom and Nina stepped onto the first glowing stone, carefully choosing their path. The singing grew louder, and figures began to emerge from the water, spirits with mournful eyes and outstretched hands. They whispered temptations and tried to lure Icom and Nina into the depths. Resisting the spirits' calls, Icom and Nina focused on the glowing stones, moving swiftly and deliberately. Their bond and trust in each other guided their steps, and they reached the other side of the river unscathed. Abeni met them on the shore, her expression softer. You have shown great strength and unity. One final task remains. The final task led them to the heart of the midnight forest, a clearing where a massive, ancient tree stood. Bound to its trunk was Amora, unconscious but alive. The air was thick with magic, and the ground was covered in glowing runes. Abeni appeared before them, revealing the truth. The forest demands a sacrifice for her freedom. One of you must stay here with me, forever, to lift the curse and save the girl. Icom and Nina were faced with an impossible choice. As they debated who would stay and who would go, the forest began to close in on them, its dark magic intensifying. Amara stirred, her eyes fluttering open. Icom. Nina. She whispered, her voice weak but filled with hope. Tears welled in Icom's eyes as he looked at his sister. I cannot leave you here, he said, his voice breaking. Nina placed a hand on his shoulder, her expression resolute. You are needed in the village, Icom. Amora needs you. I will stay. Icom shook his head, his heart heavy with grief. No, Nina, we will find another way. As they stood in the clearing, the ground trembled,